AMT transducer and meter. The minimum pulse displayed on the characteristic changed from 10 pulses to 100 pulses. To test the meter in transducer, for example, if the number of pulses is 100, watt-hour is 500 kilowatt, the ratio of CT conversion 2000 to 1, and the ratio of PT conversion is 400 kilovolt to 110 selected. Then adding the point to the table is added to the desired value table and is not the same as previous versions of out of range. In Transducer and in Advanced View section, changes have been made to voltage values in low powers injection. The minimizing and maximizing problem in Transducer, causing no display or delay in the characteristic view display, is fixed. Moving points in Transducer based on input act and output act values. In meter for inject mode, the test time is added to 110% of the time of a pulse inside the time field. In meter, the shape of the characteristic curve has been corrected. In meter and in the table, the calculation results related to fault of the meter is added and the relative and absolute columns are removed. Remove fault types from Setting tab in AMT transducer and meter. AMT sequencer. Graphic change of track bar in signal view. I2 over I1 value is false in vector view table. Also, this value lacks units. And on the other hand, sometimes the size of this vector became too large and off the chart, which has also been corrected. If the vector color changes in vector view by right-clicking and selecting default color, the changed color returns to the default color. Solving the problem in transient table. By loading a ComTrade file, the channel name of this file would have crashed the table. In loading ComTrade files, the fault of all signals are displayed. From now on, none of the binary outputs are enabled by default. Current transformer. Fixing the problem of adding excitation test states in secondary burden test after clicking on Init Test. Circuit breaker. In the timing test key, activate the PSAN field by selecting External in the Power Supply section. In CB and in the minimum voltage test by selecting New Device, a state termination is placed on coil current, and by reselecting AMT 105, a state termination is placed on contact. Actual values are displayed in all equipment rooms as bold in signal view. However, in tests where injection is performed in three-phase mode, the actual values are shown in circles. AMT differential. Solving the problem of loading XGO of GE relay. AMT distance. Adding Update Conf Files button in Load XGO and Rio file from list. In this page, after once clicking on this button and double-clicking on the distance block in the General Test Object page and going to the Distance Protection Parameters page, there is a list of types of relays in the Copy From field for different KL coefficients in all relays. In distance, by going to the Setting tab and selecting Constant Test Voltage and ticking the Allow Reduction of VTest option, the VMAXLL field is not activated, and this mode is activated only by selecting Constant Test Current and ticking the Allow Reduction of VTest option. The numbering max point number must be between 4 and 20, and if an invalid number is written, a fault message appears. Now it may be set to a number in Rio. but it's out of range, and this time the user faces a fault message. But if it is allowed in the range and then the number is invalidated by changing the value of the number to which it is linked, the test doesn't run. In all medium rooms, after adding a point in the table of points, you can move between cells of each point with the Tab key and go to the next row by finishing the cells of a row, and see the change at the same time on the characteristic curve in Characteristic View.